Hello, welcome to Solo Strategic Playthroughs. My name is Jeff, and today we are going back to basics as hoping to wrap up this run of Lord of the Rings scenarios for now. I may play some more in the future, but here I am going to be continuing the core set quests using campaign mode from the revised core set, as we are now going to do Escape from Dol Guldur. And if you haven't seen the first two, Passage from Mirkwood, Journey Down the Anduin, check those out. If you have already seen them, or if you're only interested in this one, then let's get into it. Just again, I am using as a foundation the original Back to Basics deck I wrote about on Board Game Geek and later RingsDB 12 years ago. Made some modifications since in the revised core set there are 3 of every card. I've bumped up the deck to 50. Again, you can see the last episode I go over the changes I made. I'm just going to run with the same set of cards that I did in the previous scenario. I'm not going to metagame and adjust just because I know who the prisoner is. No, we'll keep it as it is, and hopefully I can rescue Beravor. You can see she is the one who's missing. With campaign mode, you do not choose randomly unless there's a tie, but what you're looking at is at the end of the last scenario, whoever has the most damage. That was Beravor. I was able to kind of position that way. That is my preference, so that I've got strong questing. I've got the potential for more resource generation. Card draw, also very useful too. It's all good, but you have to lose somebody to start. So now there are going to be some differences. This quest is, as written, and we'll see how it goes with the revised core set, it is not well balanced for between one player versus two. What is very doable with two becomes insane with one. With 2 players, you only have 5 heroes instead of 6, right? There's only 1 prisoner, which means that one player is still at full capacity and the other player isn't. They have to work around that. You have 3 cards coming out in the staging area. There's going to be these guarded objectives that we have to get. So I'm going to have to draw before I even start 3 cards off the staging area. Well, that's going to be the same if I'm playing with 2 players or I'm playing with 1. Way back when I wrote an article saying, look, if you want to actually balance this a bit, for one, only use 2 of these instead of 3, and although you may only have 2 characters, you should still be able to produce resources for the prisoner. Now, the campaign mode addresses a little bit of that, so, and again, but still not balanced, because the campaign mode adjustments are the same whether you're playing one-handed or two-handed. Nevertheless, we're going to give it a go and take a look at the changes for campaign mode. Alright, so Mendor has been taken prisoner as well. He will start in play, but as soon as we have the prisoner chosen, which is going to happen during setup, he'll be taken, as will Beravor. The one difference is we do get a boon to start in play. So I've popped up Mendor again so you can see him, even though he's not going to be available right away. He will a little bit later on. The other 2 cards picked up Valor last time after defeating the Hill Troll, and I put that on Theodred, so that is going to make him a little bit more effective when he attacks. He'll also be able to heal himself, could come in really handy. And then the other thing is very important, is that I get to attach Appointed by Fate to one of my heroes. Obviously, it's going to be, well, not obviously, I guess I could put it on the prisoner. I'm not going to. I can put it on Eowyn or Theodred. So my ideal scenario is if I can manage to get Steward of Gondor in my opening hand, and if I have the extra resource from Theodred, I won't have to wait till turn 2. I can get it into play right away, probably on Eowyn. The real dream scenario would be if she got Unexpected Courage as well, but let's I'll settle for one of those 2 cards, but I do have to make the decision before I draw my cards, so it will be Theodred gaining the extra resource. I'd also prefer that way I can put Steward on Eowyn once I draw it, and she'll be generating 3 resources a turn to his 2, which works better with the balance of my deck. And again, I don't actually have the revised core set, so I'm just using proxies in this case, just a 0 cost from a different expansion, Valiant instead of Valor, and the Appointed by Fate, we'll remember he's going to get the extra resource. Now, time for the all-important draw of my starting hand, and let's see what Fate has in store for us. All right, I'm well shuffled, and here we go. Test of Will, never a bad thing, but I really need allies early on. Lore of Imladris, Gift of the Galadriel, Gift of the Galadriel. This is not looking good. A Forest Snare, a card I can't play, and a Test of Will. Well, that was an easy one. I am going to take a mulligan. I will shuffle up and try again. All right, here we go. Take two. We're going to start with Faramir, which is actually, I could get him into play in turn 2, so that's really good if nothing else works. There's an ally that I can get into play on turn 1, thanks to the Appointed by Fate. Steward of Gondor. This is going really well. Let's let it ride. All right, there's the first lore card. Another lore card, but at least it's cheap. So soon after we rescue the prisoner, I'll be able to get him into play. And the 6th card. All right, so yeah, that's actually really, yeah, that's really good because I'm going to be able to play Steward of Gondor. I'm going to be able to get Eowyn ready to go. So I cannot complain about this starting hand. Definitely has some very strong allies in it. Gives me some good possibilities. But now the next big question is, what am I going to be facing drawn off the encounter deck? So it's going to be 3 cards right off the bat as I have to resolve the guarding of each of these. And then, of course, whatever I have to face when I actually quest on turn 1. So here we go in no particular order. So we'll just go from left to right. Guarding the Shadow Key is going to be a location. Guarding the Torch is a fantastic draw. That's going to resolve 1 damage to all of my exhausted characters, of which I have none. And all right, and an enemy that I'm going to have to deal with right away and has doomed 1. So let's take a closer look at these 2 cards. So as I said, we've got the Cavern Guardian, who at 8 engagement cost is definitely going to be coming after us. Fortunately, thanks to the Valor attachment, I can kill him with just 1 attack from Theodred. Then we've got the Enchanted Stream, which once I travel to, I'm not going to be able to draw cards. Interesting choice I'm going to have to make. I'm probably not going to be a big deal. I probably will travel location. Again, we have to see what comes off the deck. But I also am going to be in a position to get the Northern Tracker into play next turn. So I could potentially deal with that location by turn 3. All right, well, there's a bit to consider. But as I said, this is certainly one of the kinder draws that I've had going in, and that's really one of the things, again, that I think is it is actually problematic with the. With the design of this scenario, like, it's so swingy. Like, what if I had gotten, a spider that exhausts my characters, and so now I'm exhausted and it's going to attack me? It's just, but. Again, I'm not going to complain at all. I am just going to give it a go because this worked out well for me. And I've had, that's the King Spider I'm talking about. I've had some ridiculously bad opening draws and still found a way to pull it off. I think that is actually, as much as I complain about this scenario, it's also one of the things that makes it kind of fun to coming back from impossible odds. Now, let us jump into it and kick things off with the resource phase, where it'll be 2 resources over here, 1 over here, and now jumping right over. Oh, I get to draw a card too. Let's not forget about that. Ooh, it's another copy of Faramir. All right. So the most important thing, right? You don't want enemies to linger. I want to make sure I'm able to kill this guy. I have played plenty of times where I don't send, depending on how things might work out, if I need that extra damage, even from Eowyn. In the first turn of this scenario, if you're playing true solo, you have to be willing to quest with nobody, take a lot of threat, little you can do about it, and then take an undefended attack, and then all-out attack. Fortunately, my situation is not that dire. But, and with the extra damage I'm going to be able to do from here, not to mention the healing to help with the undefended attack, which hopefully doesn't kill him, because as good as I said everything could go, if this guy gets a shadow card that gives him +2, then it's over. Well, it's not over, but if I lose him, it's over. In any event, we'll go ahead. I will spend his resources to go ahead and put this into play. And I could put an ally into play, but I think it's more important to kind of really jumpstart things. Yeah, the one downside is you can only play one ally around. Actually, it occurs to me I haven't even shown you the quest card, so let me back up a sec and do that. Right, so looking at stage 1, the Necromancer's Tower, the first thing that happens is I put out the 3 objectives, and I set aside the Nazgul. I put out the 3 objectives, draw the guarded card for them, I took care of that. Then you flip the card over, that's when you have the prisoner is taken, that's when Mendor gets taken as well, and it's got that little bit there that the players collectively, so this is the one aspect, this is a factor in scaling, so it's not that there's no scaling for 2, because when you've got 2 players, you can still only play 1 ally, so that is, and you do have to dealing with 2 cards off the deck, so balances a little bit, but that is something I'll have to consider as well as, like I said, I can only play 1 ally a turn. Now, I'm not going to play any allies this turn. That's it for planning. I'm going to hold on to her resources. But what I am going to be able to do is I can send her questing. Theodred is going to hang back, so she's just by herself. And as things start, she is going to have her 4 willpower versus the 4 in the staging area. Now, drawing a card off the deck, it is going to be, okay, another location, but a location, so we are going to be facing some threat, but a location that the Northern Tracker is going to be able to eliminate next turn. So that is really good. So this being the case, I mean, it's still quite a bit of threat that I'm looking at. So you can see we've got the Tower Gate, which if we travel to it is going to create Orc guards, but again, we're not going to have to travel, going to be able to easily take care of that. It does have 2 threat, so as things are standing right now, we've got 6 threat in the staging area versus 4 questing. I am going to go ahead, use Eowyn's ability. I'll discard one of my copies of Faramir so that it is, in this case, 5 versus 6, so I do not successfully quest, but I only gain 1 threat, which all things considered, not too bad. That puts me up to 29. Now, big decision with travel. I do have an opportunity to clear down the staging area a bit by traveling to this location. This guy's going to engage, so that's going to be empty. This is going to be cleared by the Northern Tracker, so I could have 0 in the staging area, or I could have 2 in the staging area. I think that's okay. I would rather do that. Let the Northern Tracker take that out. Hopefully I don't have to keep the Northern Tracker back. No, I'm definitely not keeping the Northern Tracker back. We'll deal with what we deal with. So yeah, I am not going to travel. I will just go ahead and engage this enemy who is he's going to come over here and he is going to attack Theodred. So first, well, he's going to attack undefended because I need Theodred for attack, and technically she's exhausted. So he's dealt a shadow card. We'll jump right into the combat phase and hope it is not something that kills me. Not great, but definitely not terrible. No additional damage. I have to raise my threat by the number of enemies engaged with me, which is 1. So yet another threat bump. Also, just quick clarification, of course, he'll take 2 damage from the undefended attack. I had moved him off of Gandalf's map, but he actually is holding on to the map. I have to kill him to get it. So why don't we go ahead and do that. I will now use Theodred to attack. And again, I'll show you which he's got Valor on him. So I'll use the response. I can exhaust Valor to go ahead and heal him a 1, doing 1 damage to that. That just goes right through the armor. And then it is 2 attack versus 1 shield. 1 damage left over, which is just enough to take that guy out. And now the map is available. And so this is pretty interesting because taking a look at the way the map works. So you can see, in order to claim the map, I just have to raise my threat by 2, and then I can put it on somebody. That character can't attack or defend. Gandalf's map is always the first guarded objective I'm looking to pick up in this scenario, because you can give it to Eowyn or whoever your questing person is, and you're going to need somebody questing, you know, like I said, maybe 1 round you can afford to not send anybody. Usually that's it. So has potentially the least effect on you, negative effect, as opposed to the others, which can be brutal. I did think it's an interesting thing here is with the card that lets you heal, and I'm sure there was some intentionality in this design with Valor, you could potentially take that one instead. Right now, all of the objectives. There's the one that increases your threat every round. That's doable, just a little scary. There's the one that makes you deal damage every round, which normally is like, yeah, there's no way I'm ever going to take that. That'll be the last objective I take. But given that now I do now have a way to self-heal, but it also requires having an enemy to attack. I can't play my lore cards, so... the other interesting wrinkle here is, normally I wouldn't claim the map until I was ready to move on. There's no reason. It's unguarded. It's going to remain unguarded. But once I claim the map, I do get Mendor back into play. So, albeit with some damage, and I mean, that's an extra ally. So it doesn't count as playing an ally either. So that's not, I don't have to worry about that. That being the case, where I'm at 30 threat. I don't have to make that decision now. I'll be at 31 at the end of the round. That would bump me up to 33 next round. Probably worth it. I'm still below that nasty threshold of 35. But I will hold off just a little bit longer. Not like Mendor is going to do anything this turn. So that is going to be it for that for now. I will just go to the refresh phase and raise my threat and get ready for round 2. And yeah, this is where things just feel so much more in control right now, where I can go ahead. I'm getting 2 resources over there. I'm getting 3 over here, an embarrassment of riches. And then I'll go ahead and draw a Snowborn Scout, which would be really handy. If I could play him this turn, I absolutely would, but I do have to make my choice. I'm going to go ahead and go here instead for my 1 ally, but I'm well positioned to have lots of choices for an ally for next turn, and it's just that slow and steady build-up now. Now the question, of course, is do I want Mendor in play? I feel like I still don't have to make that decision. Only if I were going to send him questing, which I don't think I'm going to do because... I'm done with preparation phase. So here, I'm going in with 5 against just the 2 here, as I'll be clearing this out. So I'm already ahead by 3. I'm not worried about making any progress. Odds are that'll be enough. If I really have to, I'll discard a card. So I guess the flip side to that is there are no enemies in the staging area. I could generate... Yeah, I don't know why I'm keeping him back if there's no enemy. I guess just to defend if need be. But again, in a pinch, of course I could have Mendor defend. Yeah, I think letting him build up, I mean, I don't even need the resources. But you know what? I'm going to play it a little safe. Just the 1 extra questing, albeit while the resource would be nice, she's fine. She's got plenty. I don't even have the spirit cards. And he's generating 2 a turn, can still only play 1 ally, so I'm not even sure what I would do at this point. All right, so here we go. Drawing off the deck is going to be Caught in a Web. Not a favorite card of mine. I managed to escape this last game, so I have to attach this to a hero. It's certainly not going to be Aon, who constantly... Although, hold on. Maybe it should be Aon, because I keep forgetting it's not like Caught Web just locks you down. Let's take a look. So yeah, it's a nasty effect, which usually for all intents and purposes says you can't ready unless you spend 2 resources. That usually means, yeah, you're done. You're not going to be able to ready. However, in Aowen's case, she's generating 3 resources a turn. I have no spirit cards, so yeah, she has the resources to pay for this. So she is caught in a web. She is undaunted. I will put that on her. Then I can go ahead and count it up. Oh, also, as soon as I declared him for the quest, I should have put a token here and here, which clears that out. No ill effects, don't have to deal with the travel effect. All right, so 4, 5 versus 2, and we've actually made 3 progress. It's going to do it. No engagement, no combat. Still don't feel the need to claim the objective. So we'll just bring everybody back. In order for her to ready, I'm going to have to spend 2 resources. No problem. raise my threat to 32, and things are looking good as we get ready for round 3. Moving right along, I will go ahead and load her up on resources, send 2 more over his way, and let's see, drawing a card is going to be a Forest Snare, so we'll just set that aside. A pretty good chance that that card may just be discarded. For AON, I should say. And now I will go ahead, spend 4 resources on the leadership side to bring Faramir into play. We've got 2 very nice allies available. Faramir really good because I don't have to send him questing. He can hang back. He can give the bonus to the other 2. Then if I need a strong defender, it's 6 and 1/2 dozen. He's either contributing 2 or he's staying back, and I can exhaust him to contribute 2. That also means he's not vulnerable to events like the Necromancer's Reach, because after you reveal cards from the deck, you do still have time to play actions before you actually compare totals. All right, so now it is time to quest. And really just a question of who I'm going to send. Definitely these 2, because I need to clear that location out. And of course, I'm sending AON. You know what? At this point, I think I'm actually going to go ahead. I'm going to raise my threat by 2. It is time. Let's try and clear out this quest. I will get Gandalf's map, because this can work out well for a couple ways. So now that I've claimed one of the objectives, that does rescue Mendor. He comes into play with a damage on him. I can send him up to quest as well, and that's all right. I'm at 4, 5, 6 against 0 in the staging area with a potential for another +3. I could send him as well just to do resource generation, but I think I'm fine generating 5 resources between the 2 of them. Never know what's going to come off the deck, so we'll keep him back. With this crew, of course, as soon as I send this, it is another progress here, which is going to take that out. And now I can go ahead and draw off the deck. And, it is going to be the King Spider. So when revealed, okay, so it is going to engage me. I'm going to have to exhaust a character, which obviously is either going to be one of these 2. So then it's really just a question of who I want to take that attack. And there's the King Spider, as you can see, when revealed, exhaust a character. And in this case, I think it has to be Theodred, because this thing is going to come down, it's going to attack, and if it just gets a +1 on the shadow card, that will take out Theodred, so better to have Faramir defend it, who's fully healthy. So now, situation not ideal. It's 4, 5, 6 versus 2, so I'm making 4 progress. I could discard a card for 1 more, but that gets me up to 8. That doesn't get me where I need to be. Yeah, I think in this case, probably I'll hold on to my hand so that I may need to discard it next turn or in the future. I will then have to engage us. Unfortunately, not being able to complete the quest means he's not going to ready. We'll just mark all these guys. All right, so now the spider will engage me, and getting a shadow card, it is going to go ahead and attack Faramir with no shadow effect, so 3 against 2 armor is just going to be 1 damage. And then we can go ahead, refresh everybody. I will, of course, have to spend 2 resources from there to do that. And raise my threat now up to 35 and get ready for the next turn. All right, so here we go. Going to be 3 more resources to Eowyn. And we will throw 2 on Theodred. And drawing a card is going to be another ally. We'll just go ahead and put that guy into play with the 2 resources. And, all right, I've got to deal with the spider. If I can manage to complete this, then I will be able to ready him. So I think this one's pretty straightforward. I will send Eowyn. I will send Mendor. That's 5 versus 0, potentially 7 versus 0. I have more characters available to deal with this, so I think that'll be good enough. Let's find out as I draw. Oof, another caught in the web. Well, I feel like in this case, if I had unexpected courage, that'd be great. I could load her up. I don't, so I think I'm going to have to put this on Theodred and just hope that I can eventually get a card to help me get rid of that. So having done that, there's nothing in the staging area, so I've got 5, which is enough. 5 more progress on here, so I do have one of the objectives. I have completed that quest stage, which means he's going to ready, and I am going to get to draw a card, which will be another Northern Tracker, which if I don't ready her, yeah, I'll be able to get into play because I'll have enough resources. Okay, let's take a look at stage 2. All right, so we have found a hidden entrance. We have snuck in. We're trying to find our way to the dungeons of Dol Guldur. And same restriction in play, can only play 1 ally a turn. We just have to get progress on here, which again, should be pretty easy. There's still nothing in the staging area, so Eowyn by herself should be able to take care of that. And once I can get progress, we will rescue the prisoner. The good news is I will get Beravor. The bad news is that will alert the Nazgul, and we'll have to deal with him. But at least we are building up a nice supply of allies. And yeah, so let us go back to where we were, which was the end of the quest phase. Now I'm already engaged, so dealing a shadow card here, and then I just have to decide who I'm going to let the spider attack. I guess probably going to be this guy, but let me make sure, see how much, because I got to make sure I can deal enough damage to take that thing out. Yeah, this shouldn't be too bad. Since I wouldn't have the resources to ready him, I'm better off standing pat. I will defend with the Northern Tracker, and this is going to be a 3 attack, and oof, I have to raise my defending threat by 4, which means I'm going to have to deal with the Nazgul next turn unless I can draw the Galadriel's Greeting. Yeah, things are, well, not necessarily, because I don't have to rescue the prisoner, but that is pretty rough. All right, well, we can't worry about that yet. We just have to go ahead and attack with 4, which is enough to kill this guy. End of the round, I will go ahead and spend the 2 to ready her so that I can quest. And that is going to move me up to 40 threat, the magic number for engaging the Nazgul. And, well, hopefully we can draw something helpful. I'm also in a position where I will be able to, once I rescue Beravor, I could immediately use her to draw cards. So let's move on to turn 5. Resource phase, get her up to 5, throw a couple of resources on him. Very important card draw, hopefully something useful. I mean, extra bodies are good, especially being able to help deal with the Nazgul. By the way, almost forgot, he did take a damage. Yeah, at this point, I mean, I have nothing else to spend the resources on. The one downside is if I exhaust her, I won't be able to ready her. Honestly, I may want to slow play this. I may not actually want to put progress on the quest, but I'm also at 40, so I can't afford to be too risky. I'm going to have to kind of look over my options. I do have the 2 here. Yeah, I guess instead, but I want to be able to use him to potentially attack. So I think I am better off getting a stronger ally in play, one that can deal more damage. What I really need is Gandalf. Okay, I'm going to take a moment to kind of think this through. The first 2 scenarios are pretty easy. Generally, you can kind of react to what's going on. There are definitely decision points. I find with Escape from Dol Guldur, you really have to stop down, look at, consider all your options, look at what you're going to be facing, and try and just make the best decision. No point in waiting. Things could only get worse. Let's get Beravor out there. Let's get her help. So I am going to quest with just Eowyn. She can't attack or defend anyway, since she's holding on to the map. So that's going to be 4. And also, by the way, you might have noticed I have not claimed all these. There's no reason to until you're getting ready to complete this. So it's a little weird. I almost feel like it's a little strange in design that you can just afford to sit on them. But again, not going to complain. So I'll go ahead. Quest for 4. Of course, she will not be able to ready. But let's see what we're dealing with. Okay, it is Orcs of Dol Guldur, which is going to do 2 damage to her when they come out. And that does mean, however, that I'm going to get to put 2 progress on the quest. And that means we have rescued the prisoner, which is good news. Welcome back, Beravor, who comes into play with a damage on her. And welcome the Nazgul, who is going to show up. And I'm just going to slide these over here for now. Although I guess these guys are coming down pretty fast. I'm going to have to deal with them. Let's take a look at these 2 lovely new enemies heading my way. So you've got the Dol Guldur orcs, who I've already done their when revealed. So just dealing with the 2 attack and takes 3 damage to kill them, no armor. And then the Nazgul, who I have to hit for a 12 attack, which I'm not going to be able to do this round, but I might be able to get some damage in on it. Also depends on whether or not it draws a shadow card, because if it resolves a shadow card, I'm going to lose one of my allies. But at least we have Beravor back, and kind of the first big decision point I have to make, which I guess I actually don't have to make until I do have 1 resource. So here's the question. Do I want to use Beravor for card draw to potentially get me Hasty Stroke? I do have the Shadow resource necessary to play that and potentially prevent a Shadow effect, which could save me an ally. I think that probably might be my best play. I just need to first figure out who's going to be defending against what. But this is where I'm leaning with having the Nazgul attack here. It's a 4 attack against 5, a little risky, but I don't want to just chump block. I want to keep, it's hard for me to, I can still only play 1 ally around. So, and then I would have the orcs attacking Faramir. So let's see if I can get a little help. Before I do that, I will go ahead and use Beravor to draw 2 cards, which is, I mean, it'll be helpful next turn, perhaps. Not this turn. Okay, yeah, it wasn't the Craftsman I'm looking for. It's the Miner of the Iron Hills. But either way, that was not a great draw, getting 2 cards, since I'm still only going to be able to play 1 ally next turn. So now, just have to hope for a little bit of luck as we resolve the attack. First, the Nazgul, and yeah, there's going to be a shadow effect. It's the King Spider, so I'm going to have to, at least it's no extra damage, just going to have to exhaust a character, and it'll be this guy who is then going to be destroyed by the Nazgul. So it'll be 2 damage to the Northern Tracker. Then after the shadow card resolves, that's when I have to discard, so I'll go ahead and do that. Then attacking with the orcs. Okay, that is not supposed to be in the deck. I just shuffled things around a little wrong. There were 2 copies. It should be in the discard pile. So attacking now with the orcs, and that is also going to be a shadow effect, which not as bad. You know, this is one of those cards that is annoying, but maybe less so with Beravor out for card drawing. The Iron Shackles I have to attach to the top of my deck, and the next time I would draw a card, then I'm going to have to get rid of the shackles instead. So just a little bit of speed bump, no damage dealt. So now not really going to be able to put a dent in the Nazgul yet, and so no reason to exhaust him. And these are both. But these 2 can combine to kill the orc. So that's taken care of. And now, well, gotta get ready for the next round, and hopefully I can catch up or stay ahead of the curve here. Right, so not being able to ready Eowyn does put me in a bit of a pickle here. Give her 3 resources. I didn't even realize I had all these resources on him, so I guess I actually could have used him, but that's fine. I'll save those for future needing to be able to ready. I still wasn't going to be able to do any damage to that. So, and then also 1 to Beravor. as I now have to kind of weigh my options, who to put into play. I don't get to draw a card. That's unfortunate. I feel like I almost have to, in this situation, just continue to dig through my deck. I need some help. A Gandalf would be really great right now. There's a lot of cards that could help me. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead, use Beravor, and okay, that will be helpful. Not that I can play it this round, but there's a card that next round I'll be able to get rid of one of these attachments. And a Stand and Fight, which that's great. That's actually really good because I can get a chump ally into play, and that doesn't count as playing an ally. So that's kind of a way to get around this. All right, so for an ally, I think I'll just hang on to the Snowborn Scout a little bit longer, even though this guy's got some attack value. We'll put him into play with 2 resources, and so now I've at least got another blocker. And let's see. So now the next decision I have to make is who I'm going to send a quest. I just don't want my threat to go up. It's really the most important thing. So I think I'm going to send Faramir and Mendor. It's not a lot of questing. It's just 3. But at least these guys I have back for some decent attack. Of course, he's definitely going to be back for attack. He can heal, and I realize he can damage the Nazgul because he deals 1 damage from Valor. Of course, he's prepared to block. I'll be able to stand and fight in somebody to just discard. So, with all that taken care of, I can go ahead, and we've got 3 versus... All right, just 2. So actually make a progress. That's good. That's a location that, yeah, that I don't have to travel to. I can have these guys head out and take care of that next turn while I hope and pray for Gandalf to show up. Or Beorn at this point, as she's starting to... Well, no, she's going to have to spend resources. Honestly, I'll take whatever help I can get. All right, just cleaning things up a bit. I am going to have the Nazgul attack. We'll deal him a shadow card, but before he attacks, we'll go ahead and spend 2 from here to play Stand and Fight so I can get another Tower Guard into play. Then I will go ahead. The Nazgul will attack. He will defend. We will hope that there is no shadow effect. Okay, no shadow effect, so that is a relief. That is still going to kill him, but at least I don't lose an additional character. Now I can fight back, so 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. He'll automatically heal and do a damage beforehand. So now it's 7 versus 3, so that is 4 damage to the Nazgul. And you know what? If Gandalf could show up, we're in very good shape. Please, Gandalf, show up. During readying everyone, during the ready phase, I do have to spend 2 here. I have to spend 2 here. And at least we have everyone back in action. Raise my threat now to 42. It is getting a bit dicey. On to the resource phase. Another 3 for Eowyn. 2 over here. A very important resource over here. And a very important card draw, as it's going to be... Alright, the Gladrihim's Greeting. I will take it. That is at least means that I can get this down a bit. Starting to worry, starting to get a little dangerous in terms of getting closer to that 50. So I think the first no-brainer move, honestly, I still need to get through my deck. So, well, but I also want to be able to kill the Nazgul. So, what I want to do at this point, I mean, I know for an ally, I think I need to get this guy into play so that I can get rid of one of these, knowing that I'm going to be playing the Gladrim's Greeting, that I want to quest with her. I am going to get rid of this one first. Also, I don't have any really cards I'm looking to play with him right now, so that works out fine. That goes to that discard pile. She's good to go. Almost certainly going to play Gladrihim's Greeting with the 3 resources I've got. And get that decision I don't need to make yet. Wouldn't bring me down below 35, so I can wait on it. Yeah, the question is whether or not I use her, so I kind of need to figure out who the Nazgul's attacking, who's going to attack. So let me work that out. Okay, so kind of going through this, I was thinking I would need to quest with these to get rid of this, but I don't have to do it now. I can do it next turn. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use Beravor to draw 2 more cards. There's Beorn, who isn't really helpful right now, and there's Gandalf, who would be very helpful right now, but I probably should have done this in a different order. I already played an ally. Cannot play Gandalf this turn. Well, c'est la vie. I will be able to play him next turn. I think I can still go through... I think I can still take this guy out. I am going to have her quest, and I will also... Let's see. Who else can I send? She's 4. He's 5. That's probably enough. I do need to be able... Yeah, I need these 3 to be able to attack. I've got Faramir back, who can increase him if need be. He'll take the attack. He can be discarded if there's a shadow effect. All right, I've got all my ducks in a row, so I am questing for 4 and 5 versus 2 in the staging area, plus another enemy that... Oh, that changes the calculus a bit because I'm going to have to engage him. Yikes. Okay. But I also know that I don't have to kill the Nazgul, although I'd much prefer, with Gandalf coming into play next turn, that I use his threat reduction. So 4 in the staging area versus the 5 I quested with is 1 progress. So that's good at least. Still not going to travel. Have no choice but to engage this guy, dealing shadow cards to each, and now I have to decide. You know, I've still got Faramir, so a little risky though, because yeah, I might have to... That might take him out. I could also take the attack undefended and hope I get lucky. That also pretty risky. The good news, if you can call it that, is I don't need to make all my decisions yet. The attacks happen sequentially from highest threat to lowest, and also he gets a second shadow card. So the Nazgul will attack first, defending here, and if there's no shadow effect, that would be really good. There is no shadow effect, so he is dead, but I don't have to do an extra discard, which means the Guard of the Citadel can do his job, be a guard, defend against this attack. Still some shadow effects that could ruin my day. No shadow effect. Also very glad to see that go. And no shadow effect. So he is taken out as well. But I can now do my counterattack of 2, 4, 5, 6, which will deal 1 damage going... So it's actually... He's at 6 damage now. That... Even though I can't heal him, it's not a then. It just says heal and do 1 damage. So, with Valor. So, I am able to do the 1 damage, and I had the +1 extra if I needed it. So, that is going to be 6 against the 3 shields, is 3 more damage. I have defeated the Nazgul, which not even worth the victory points. So, God forbid I have to reshuffle the encounter deck. He could come back. But at least for now, I've dealt with that. And still got... We are not out of the woods yet, but I am feeling a little bit more comfortable. And during the resource phase, he's still caught in a web, so I will spend his 2 resources so that he can ready. So we've got everybody back. Good for next turn, and then I will raise my threat and continue on. Round 8, and we will go into the resource phase with 1 here, plenty here, 2 here. The card draw is... Well, all right. Better late than never. Hasty Stroke is available. I I get to put one ally into play. I think it's almost certainly going to be Gandalf, just so for nothing else, for threat reduction, just to kind of get me back down. That can get me down to 37. Galadriel can get me down to 31. Just want to make sure that I have everything I need to take this guy out this turn. I mean, now I can actually afford to take an attack undefended. Yeah, things have opened up quite a bit having drawn Hasty Stroke. Questing choice pretty easy. It's going to be AON in both of these, so I can finally get rid of that location. A little bit risky that, if I draw Necromancer's Reach, I think there is one more in there, but still worth it because this happens first. These two go. Now I'm questing with 6 versus... All right, so just 2. That's 4 more progress. That's far less important than what I really want to do. The hardest part of this quest is over. I just need to manage things, make sure... now I'm not worried about threading out, so I just need to manage things, get myself in a good position to be able to blitz through the end of it. And I find it best to just clear all the enemies before you do that. This is doomed. Also, I misspoke. I'm actually up to 33. Should have gone down to 31. Should have gone down to 32. This brings me back up to 33. So now the Cavern Guardian will engage. Then we'll move on to the combat phase where he will be dealt 2 shadow cards, so no guarantee with Hasty Stroke, but still have it in position. He will be dealt 1. So now what I'm going to do, I do want to be able to kill these both this turn, leverage my attack power. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to have, I think, Beravor is going to defend against this. I guess actually Faramir could do it, and if he dies, well, he dies. It would not be my preference, but let's see what happens. It'll be a 3 attack against Faramir. First shadow effect, nothing. Next shadow card, it's the worst shadow effect in the game. Thank goodness I have Hasty Stroke. And just to give you a look at the Hummer Horns, that would be 1 damage to every character I control, which would kill Eowyn. It would kill one of my Northern Trackers. That would be very unpleasant. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead. I might as well, because if I don't Hasty Stroke it, Eowyn's dead. She's not going to be able to Hasty Stroke anything anyway. So that's taken out. 3 damage, so he'll just take 1 damage. It would have killed Faramir, too. Now the other attack, which I was originally going to take undefended, but I may have to think twice about that. I think I have to play this one a little bit safe. We've come too far to take chances. I am not going to be able to kill this guy this turn. What I'm going to have to do instead is I will defend with Beravor, just in case. So, all right, well, there was no shadow effect, so she doesn't take any damage, but had to be careful. Now what I can do, it's a little bit of overkill as Gandalf, and I am going to have to use him, which means he will not ready next turn, but that's 1 damage onto him, then combined 6 more, so enough to take that guy out. I'll have to deal with him next round, but I will have more people back to do it, although not Gandalf, because he has done his bit. Everybody is going to ready, but not you. And then Gandalf is going to say, see you later. I thought he was dealing with a Necromancer. I guess he has to go elsewhere in the tower. All right, so we are getting closer to being able to move on and hopefully complete this scenario, but I'm not going to get overconfident. Bad things can still happen. Going to go ahead, play my resources, draw my card, which, well, that is going to definitely lessen the chances that bad things happen, or at least put me in a position to deal with it. Planning phase, I'll just play my 1 ally. It'll be a Henemarth River Song. I could use him now, but I'm going to, now at this point, well, I actually have a Test of Will. So If it's a bad effect, I know I'll be able to cancel it, but I still like using him at the end of the round. I think that's the better way to do it, so I'm going to keep him back. I'm just going to quest with these two, Mendor and Eowyn, and go ahead and draw. Well, we'll draw Dol Guldur Orcs, and easy come, easy go, as I'm going to have to use my Test of Will, because I can't afford for either of them to take any damage. So I will spend the resource. So long, a Test of Will, cancel the when revealed effect. So it is 5 versus 2 in the staging, and I think I probably want to leave Faramir available, so I'm not going to use his ability. I will just put 3 progress on. That gets me up to 12. So close there. That's fine. I got to deal with these things anyway. I'll then engage him and decide who's going to defend who. And actually, I think this is a good opportunity to do something I've mentioned is a strategy possibility in these articles, but you don't often do. But I think if I can take that attack undefended right now, that puts me in a position to potentially just take both of these enemies out now, which would be very nice. I am going to have to block one of them for sure, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Henemarth now before I deal the shadow cards to reveal the top card of the encounter deck, so now I know what shadow effect I'm facing. Okay, well, that is not an attack I'm going to leave undefended, because I would have to discard all of my attachments. That includes having to discard Gandalf's map. So at least I know I'm going to have to defend that attack, and that being the case, probably can't risk taking the other one undefended either. Now, what I do at least know is that he's not going to get a bonus, so I can safely defend with Faramir, so who will then have to discard an attachment. He doesn't have any, so that's fine. And then I will go ahead and have this Northern Tracker defend against this attack, also a 2 attack with a shadow effect. And this one, I am going to have to raise my threat by 2 up to 36. I just have Beravor and the Northern Tracker left. I think at this point, more important to make sure I'm killing at least one of these enemies. So I will take out this guy so that if I do have to reshuffle, I don't immediately have to deal with this. Although I think, yeah, I still got plenty of cards in there. But yeah, with that, I am just going to move on to the refresh phase where everybody will ready. And just slowly but surely, at least now, I can get Theodred back, spending his 2 resources. And then we will go ahead, raise our threat up to 37, and get ready for the next round. Turn number 10, and first things first, of course, resources. Load back up her, start to restock over here. And then I'll go ahead, draw a card. That is going to be a Snowborn Scout. All right. Much as I might like to draw more cards to see where things are going, I'm just going to continue to keep it simple, get another good ally into play. Again, I can still only play 1 ally, but we'll play another Northern Tracker. And now I'm in a situation where, again, I don't think I need to be that aggressive. I don't have Test of Will anymore, so I do think in this point I need to send in somebody. I don't remember. I don't think there's another one of these, but just to be safe, I'll send in the Northern Tracker as well. So I've got these 2. That's 5. That's probably more than enough. Faramir could always bump up. So I'll leave Mendor back. So there we go. Sending in 5 questing versus... all right. That's not too bad. And I keep forgetting, like, at this point, I'm not going to play a lot of these cards. I could certainly afford to use Eowyn's ability, which I think I will now. Yeah, I'm currently at 5 versus 2. Don't see myself playing Forest Snare anytime soon. So I will discard that. And, oh, I should actually have an extra resource on him. Let us not forget about that. And so that is 5, 6 versus 2 is 4, which gives me exactly enough progress that I could now advance. All I have to do is claim these, which I will do, but not until I am in a comfortable position to know that I am good. In terms of traveling, not going to travel to the location, not with 3 northern trackers out. I can easily deal with that next turn. And once again, the most valuable piece of information to me right now is knowing what the shadow card is going to be. So again, I'm going to take a look in advance. I'm going to see there is no shadow card. So in that case, doesn't matter. I know he's going to attack. I will just defend with Faramir. It doesn't really matter. But that is then, and I guess I could have checked that ahead of time when I was deciding what to do, but again, doesn't really matter. I can just go ahead, attack with these 2 so he can hold on to his resources, and that will take out that guy. I can go ahead, draw a couple cards, which is going to be Gift of the Galadriel and Gleowine. And now I think I'm ready to wrap up. Probably next turn, I will just go ahead, claim these 2. Don't need to do it now. I can do it next time during the planning phase. Everybody's ready. Threat now up to 38. Time to move on to planning in turn 11. 2 resources, 3 resources, 1 resource. And I think just so I can see exactly how things are looking, I am going to go ahead and reveal the top card of the encounter deck now. I can see that it is, well, it's Doomed and Surge. So that did not work. I do know that my threat's going to go up. I don't know what else is going to happen. At this point, even without perfect information, I think I can take care of this. So I'm just going to go all out. What I'm going to do is we will spend 3 resources to do Gift of the Galadriel, just so I can get below that threshold down to 33. I'll spend 2 lore resources to play Lore of Imladris so that I can heal Eowyn so she doesn't get caught by a stray. I think I could also check the discard pile, but I think I'm good. Then I can go ahead and I can quest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Potentially another 5 is 13. I think that's more than enough. So as soon as I declare, I get to put 3 progress on this. So this card is successfully explored. So from the Mountains of Mirkwood, I will get to look at the top 5 cards of my deck, put 1 into my hand. So many options. Yeah, we'll take this card. So Mendor can get a little bit bigger if we want. And that is going to do it for that. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw off the encounter deck. Actually, I've shuffled those cards back in, and you know what? Just in case, I am going to go ahead and draw a couple more cards. Maybe I'll get a Test of Will. It's Gandalf again. It's Unexpected Courage, so no. But, all right, so we'll go ahead and do this. Doomed is going to put me up to 34 threat. Surge, and we are going to reveal another location, so no big threat there. All right, so I've correctly adjusted. My threat, again, should be at 34, having gone from 38 down to 33 from Gift of the Galadriel, plus 1 from the Doomed. So, now, I've drawn from the encounter deck. I have an opportunity to play actions. So first, I am going to use an action, increase my threat by 2 to attach the torch over here. That's going to put me up to 36. Then I will claim this objective, raising another 2. That'll go on Beravor, up to 38. Lo and behold, I have completed the quest as I have enough progress. I now have all 3 objectives. So this is complete. Having completed the quest, I will be able to ready Mendor. I will be able to draw a card, an extra copy of Gleowine, And of course, now we need to immediately resolve quest stage 3. And this is so anticlimactic that I don't even get to do the forced effect of having a skeleton show up. We've already gotten past the beginning of the quest phase. We're in the middle of it, and we're not done yet. A couple more actions we can do. Let's use Faramir for good measure to give them all +1 willpower. I will use Mendor's support. That's my proxy to give Mendor +2 to all his stats, and we'll have Eowyn discard a card. She'll discard Gandalf to give +1 willpower. So that's going to be, as printed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Then from Faramir, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Mendor's support, 14, 15. The discard, 16 against 3. That's going to be 13 progress that I get to put on the quest. And, well, we made it out. Just like that. As I said, very anticlimactic end. The strange balance, strange design on this quest. Nightmare, a little bit more even-handed, but it still kind of suffers from this. It feels impossible at the beginning, and at times, sometimes it really is impossible. If just one little thing goes wrong, you're done. You have to start over. You start to be able to kind of wrest control. Dealing with the Nazgul can be a real challenge, working that out. You saw the question of whether or not shadow cards are going to come up. I engaged him earlier than I wanted to, so you still don't really have control. And then you end up with this. I cannot recall a time I've ever had spent more than one turn on this stage. So, it would be nice. But there are so many other quests, right? This is just the core set, which I've now gone through successfully. We've managed to complete all 3, and I've got all this Gloomhaven to play and so many other games, but I am kind of having an itch to there are a couple of big boxes behind me sets that I haven't even explored yet. So it might be fun. Whether or not I might just play on my own, whether or not I record them, well, let me know. I am certainly not the only person doing Lord of the Rings card game videos. There are some very dedicated people. I urge you to check some of those other ones out. But if you want to see me do more of it, then let me know. Put in the comments. Did I get something completely wrong? Have I been playing this quest all wrong all along? Suddenly racing to the end. I think I did everything correctly, but it has been quite a long time, so by all means, let me know. Otherwise, that's going to do it for yet another episode of Solo Strategic Playthroughs, the Back to Basics series. You have seen just how effective this deck can be, using cards only from the core. I love Lord of the Rings card game. There are so many different things you can explore. The more cards you get, just different deck ideas. What I did here is I just took the best cards available. And a lot of the best cards, period, in the game are from the core set. But there are so many other interesting things you've got. I came up with a deck that just had 1 hero instead of 3 using Sam. I came up with a deck that was all spirit, that was just designed just to defeat this Escape From Dol Guldur scenario. I had like a 70% success rate with that, and there's just a lot of different themes. You can recreate events from the books or from the movies if that's your cup of tea. You can do entirely new things, different combinations of characters. Just a really fun game. I cannot recommend it highly enough. All that said, I at some point do need to also get back to my Gloomhaven campaign, which I promise I will do. That will be my next video that I put up. If you made it to the end of this video, you watched this series, you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe. If you want to support me, check out, I wrote a book. There's a link in the show notes. Fiction, fantasy novel. I like to say kind of a cross between Indiana Jones and The Big Chill. But otherwise, as always, until next time, and thanks for watching.